Sudan is struggling with an economic crisis that has forced President Omar al-Bashir to dissolve the cash-strapped administration and slash the numbers of ministries by a third. He has announced that he will form a new government within the next few days to tackle the deepening crisis.
After dissolving his cabinet, President Omar al-Bashir named a new prime minister as part of his attempts to fix the economy, battered in recent months by shortages of bread, fuel, and hard currency. The announcement comes hours after the president called an emergency meeting of ruling party officials at the presidential palace.
Based on consultation and the positive, cooperative spirit of national dialogue with political parties who have supported our decision to dissolve the National Accord government on all levels, the Prime Minister's post will be separated from the post of the first Vice President, and there will be a reduction of the federal ministries of the National Cabinet from 31 to 21.
Sudan's economy has been struggling since the South seceded in 2011, taking with it 3/4 of oil output and depriving Khartoum of a crucial source of foreign currency. The capital has been trying to slash expenditures as it grapples with record-high inflation, the hard currency shortage, and growing concern over low levels of liquidity at commercial banks. In a Khartoum market, some hope President Bashir's action will help turn around the economy, but many remain skeptical.
In fact, the change could lead to new things like development, followed by recovery, and the South might also recover.
Dissolving the government will not change the economic situation because it is the same government and the same economy. There will be no change in this government or the coming government.
The country is collapsing, and the people are afraid. We as citizens are afraid because what is going on will lead us to the worst place, and everything will go beyond the reach of the people.
The lifting of a 20-year-old U.S. trade sanctions last year was expected to usher in a more prosperous era for a country that had long been isolated. But
Zimbabwe's opposition leader Nelson Chamisa may take a mock presidential oath on Saturday, according to his spokesman. Deputy Minister of Information Energy says the government will not allow what he calls anarchy. President Emmerson Mnangagwa won 50.7% of the vote compared to 44.3% for Mr. Chamisa in the July 30 election. Mr. Chamisa's legal challenge was dismissed by Zimbabwe's court. However, he has maintained that he was cheated out of victory. Zimbabwean journalist Nigel Yamatumbu joins us live now to tell us more about this. Hi, Nigel.
Hello.
How true is the report that opposition leader Nelson Chamisa is planning to hold a mock swearing-in ceremony on Saturday?
Well, according to him, at a rally that he addressed last weekend, he made indications that he will be inaugurating himself. But in the press conference that was held at his party yesterday, the party officials were not forthcoming in coming out outright whether the purported mock inauguration was going to take place, because what they then said was that what's going to be taking place is the commemorations 19th anniversary of the movement for democratic change, which has been in Zimbabwean political trenches for that long. So whether he's going to proceed with the mock inauguration is something that would have to wait and see, and how that would take place, who would actually do the conducting of the inauguration, whether or not there will be a huge crowd following that, and also, and perhaps more importantly, whether you will actually be arrested, because that is something that is tantamount to be in violation of the country laws.
So is he likely to face any sanctions over this if it does go ahead?
Yes, I would think so. because the constitution is clear as to who has the mandate and who is obliged to swear into presidency, to swear in a presidency, and that is a responsibility of the judiciary, the Chief Justice in particular, and that has already taken place. And also, has been alluded to by government, it has already proclaimed itself on the matter. The Minister of Justice has proclaimed himself on the matter. The Deputy Minister of Information has also weighed in to say that would be in violation of the country's laws, tantamount to anarchy, and to an extent you could face a charge on treason. So you could potentially, be arrested if he does choose to proceed with the inauguration. So we'll see how best. He's a lawyer himself. His party is made up. Top leadership is made up of some of the top constitutional lawyers in this country. So they will probably, if they are going to proceed with it, they will perhaps try to be within the confines of the law. So it's a wait and see approach, as it were.
Okay, so despite a court ruling, Mr. Chamisa has maintained that he was cheated out of victory. Is he still calling for demonstrations from his supporters to protest the outcome of the election?
Yes, well, only at the opening of Parliament yesterday, the opposition MPs were heckling, opposition MPs were demonstrating. When the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission chairperson came to conduct the election for a new Speaker of Parliament, there was serious heckling that disrupted the entire process. There were demonstrations when the Chief Justice came in to swear into office the ruling party's preferred Speaker of the National Assembly, and the entire parliamentary session resembled a stadium of supporters chanting various slogans and so forth, and that is something that is still going to continue. He has never considered that he was defeated at the July 30 elections, despite the Constitutional Court ruling, despite all the interventions that have been made. Well, one might feel he feels he may have won the election, but there are two schools of thought. Some saying that he should move on, some saying he should keep on the fight. So yes, he's still keeping on the fight. The Electoral Commission chairperson was also only this week heckled in one of the lofty suburbs of Harare. So it's really not a complete process, as it were, as he's still calling on supporters to demonstrate. And the economy is also not doing well, which is something that could prompt more and more protests with this also cholera outbreak and so on.
Zimbabwean journalist Nigel Yamatumbu, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for keeping us updated on that story.
Excellent, thank you.
Still to come on the programme. Rockets hit Tripoli's airport, causing flights to be diverted to Misrata.